early Tampa band, and it's kind of more new wavy power pop than it is punk. I'm not sure what year these records came out.
I thought it was fun. We started it for fun.
There was really no punk scene. We were almost like the first punk band in the area, us and Rat Cafeteria. Unless you were to count the Voodoo Idols as a punk band, we were it.
Vince left the band and went on and formed Jehovah's Sicknesses.
Always down in Florida, we played with a lot of great bands down there. We played with Jehovah's Sicknesses early on, Rat Cafeteria, No Fraud.
Punk rock, new wave, around music, you know, that was our colorless, odorless, you know, magnet.
There was a gas station on the other side of the interstate called the APEC, and they would sell beer to anybody.
I just happened to say, I don't see why it's so hard to put on a show, you know, not to put it together and advertise something, and, you know, so they all kind of looked at me and said, no, you can't do it, don't worry. Everybody just yaps like you, but they don't do anything.
The Cuban Club, and I want to say Tony from No Clubs, I mean, and Dave, I mean, they were a mecca for that. I mean, they're still doing it.
And at that time, all the bars that would even let bands like ours play or anything like that were little, tiny, bare walls entertainment bars, and this was outdoors with a band shell. You had room to move around and dive off the stage on people and all that good shit.
We always had a better PA than almost anybody else put up there. Spent as much money and more, many times, on the PA than we did on the bands.
Right.
And the bands would show up and go, you know, they didn't have a problem with it because, holy crap, we got a real PA? Actually, they said, holy shit, we got a real PA? And it's like, well, yeah.
I never thought that we were a punk band. I thought that we just did hard, obnoxious rock.
From the second I fucking joined the band, I was like, it's a little weird, but fuck it. This is my third fucking day in college, and I'm in, you know, the Cro-Mags of Tampa.
Having the interest in the music and knowing some guys that would play it, whether they wanted to or not, because, I mean, there was guys in the band initially that didn't know what the hell they were doing either.
The Tampa scene was so violent that bands would tell each other before even coming to town, you better be careful because you're gonna run into some bad people there.
The whole parking lot's full of skinheads. I'm like, fuck it, you know, this is gonna get ugly. And I'm driving the van, and I pull into the parking lot, and some guys like drift over to the van, and they come up to the window and they're like, hey, are you guys fanging? I'm like, maybe, you know.
And it wasn't just skinheads. Everybody here would fight.
Somebody on the stage whacked somebody with a hammer, and somebody in the crowd grabbed Henry off the stage and beat the crap out of him, which I didn't like Henry anyway.
The guy pulled out of Mike Abdishi's toolbox a hammer that was underneath the soundboard and went out in the crowd to go pang on somebody's head. But it never made it to anybody's head. There was hands on that hammer. It got taken away, and they pounded on his head.
It might have been that night, but there was one night in particular I got hit with nunchucks and brass knuckles on the same night. And I was like, whoa.
The next thing I know, there was this guy running down the street with about 30 to 45 punk rockers chasing him.
Some girl comes up naked in front of the stage.
It got down to brass tacks, and I guess Tony grabbed the front of her dress and just kind of peeled it off her like it was a banana peel, and there it went.
I was walking out with this naked chick.
Beat the girl up, took all her clothes. Girls running through the crowd going, help me, help me.
I told him what was going on. He went, it'll be the last show you'll ever do in this town.
You know, it was just a bunch of skate punks, and all of a sudden, one summer, everybody comes back and they're Nazis. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
The day that came out in the newspaper, I mean, sure, I got the newspaper off of the driveway before my dad saw it, you know.
They got caught because they weren't quiet.
That's when I was like, wow, this is not the game. This is like real.